Hello, goddesses.
Hello.
Welcome to Goddess Glow, the Red Lip Alchemy Chronicles. This is a sacred space where Black femmes and African descended creatives come together to connect, converse, and radiate all of our brilliance. This podcast honors the divine power within us, weaving African diasporic practices, indigenous traditions, ancestral veneration, and restorative rituals into a tapestry of personal and communal alchemy. Through bold storytelling, spiritual exploration, and collective wisdom, we celebrate the red lip as a symbol of rebellion, beauty, and sacred sisterhood. Thanks for joining us on this journey to celebrate our power, honor our ancestors, and glow unapologetically. Oh, all right, ladies. So, can you believe we have already made it through the first threshold? We are fully and completely grounded. Our roots are growing deep. And now we're jumping into this next threshold. So I guess before we jump into it, anybody want to do any check-ins? How's everybody's week been going? What's new in your world, Professor K?
I had a great week this week. Oh, and I should have said before this, I have to go early again today because I signed up for a storytelling class with the city at the Cultural Arts Center that's newly been renamed for Otis Johnson, who was the first Black mayor here. So I'm going to a story class tonight. It starts at 7 or 7:15. And then I'm going to a hip hop class on Fridays because I was like, oh, I want to do something creative. There was like a pottery class, but that's sitting and I sit all day anyway. So I was like, okay, let me do something that requires more movement. So I'm excited about my adult classes. So that is what's happening new in my world. Last week, me and the fourth born had a lot of fun at the circus because that's where I left late last time. And it was a lot of fun. Like we both were like, that was kind of good. We had a good time. And then we went to the Tayari Jones event. And so that was very cool. And there's a picture of the two of us that people just at the event took, and Tayari Jones posted it on IG. And so like I took a picture of it and sent it, and I was like, look, it was posted on IG. And the fourth one was like, oh, we're famous. No, OMG, we're famous. It was so cute.
I
So
love it.
that was a lot of fun. And then we went to like a movie in the park thing. So we've been doing some good things that like I've been getting some fun adult solo stuff, but then also some fun stuff with the kiddo. So it's been good times for me last week going into this week.
I love it. Well, I'm really excited about this creative writing class and hip hop class because it's perfect timing for you to enter into this creative energy channel next. So amazing.
Yeah, I was like, this
Mhm.
is so aligned. I saw on IG that the city was offering some adult classes. So I was like, oh, let me see what they have to offer. And I perused the schedule and I was like, oh, this works for me. So something to look forward to over the next couple of weeks. And there's like an adult recital at the end. So I'll report back on that.
Please upload the video to our YouTube channel when you are
Right. We need all the updates on that. I love it.
What about you, Em? How's your week been?
My week's been good. It's busy, but it's been good. Last weekend I was able to go plant shopping, and add some new plant ancestors to my home. I enjoyed doing that. I have not been out and about looking at plants for a while. I was like, take care of what's at the house first, girl, before you be outside getting some more things. And so this weekend, I needed to get some supplies to take care of my babies. And then I just walked in and it was like I was in my happy place all over again. So I spent probably, 2.5 hours just looking at them, putting my fingers in dirt, thinking about what I'm growing because, spring is sprung. And so I made a plan for my outdoor growth in life, and then brought my new baby in here and a few others. I decided I needed to refresh this space because I'm here and I wanted the other rack that's behind me was like I called it my rehab center for all my babies that were like, on life's edge. So now I replaced those. I said, y'all can go and be rehab somewhere else because this is a space that is grounded and growing growing and thriving. And so I needed like a very strong, thriving big mama in this space to remind me that I continue to thrive. And so I made that adjustment and added some more beautiful babies in here.
I love it. Well,
Mhm.
she looks beautiful just like you, and I
I
love.
love it. I love it too. Why did I
Mhm.
go to try to do a plant emoji when you were talking and the only plant that came up was an eggplant, which I could still put, but I was
You
like,
sure
that's on
can.
brand.
You sure can. I got you. I'll get you some
There
leaves.
we go.
What about
This
you,
is
Tiff?
great. My week has been good. I'm tired. I'm feeling
We
tired
are
today.
so childish. Keep going.
Um, in the best possible way.
Exactly.
Best possible way. So I worked last weekend. I worked Saturday overnight and Sunday overnight in the emergency department. And then one of my friends from the East Coast was in town. She was in the Bay Area. And so initially I was like, you know what, this is a lot, right? To leave post overnight and to head out to the Bay. I was thinking like, do I drive? But number one, I was tired and didn't feel like driving. Number two, I never actually feel like driving. And then number three, I had a power outage in my garage and couldn't get my car out of the garage. And so then I was looking into taking the train, but unfortunately, there is no direct train from Sacramento to San Francisco. So it was going to be a train ride to Richmond, a BART ride to San Francisco, a bus ride from San Francisco to Sausalito, and then a 1 mile walk from the bus to the hotel. And I was like, this is too much. I should just stay home. But something in my spirit just kept telling me, like, you need to go. You need to go. So what I ended up doing was taking a train to Richmond and then just taking a lift from Richmond to Sausalito to the hotel. And as soon as I got on the train, I knew that like despite the ridiculousness of like all the steps in the journey, that it was what I was supposed to do. And so, you know, I slept for 90 minutes after my shift and showered and packed and then got on the train and slept for 90 minutes on the train. And then when I got there, I immediately got some coffee and we had a room that had a patio that was like overlooking like both like the forest as well as the Golden Gate Bridge. And so we just sat there and we just caught up on life and talked about our dreams and our hopes for the future and for ourselves and for the community. And it was really beautiful. And then we went on a nature walk, which felt harder than it was since I was sleep deprived. I redid it the next morning and I was like, this is not really anything. But it felt exhausting when I did it after that overnight shift. But it is wildflower season in California. So the poppies were popping and the trees were you know, just admiring the beauty of like the trees and just the smells and the sounds and the butterflies and the hummingbirds and it was a really beautiful experience. So I'm so glad that I listen to my intuition when it tells me not to do things and stay my ass home. And this time I'm glad that even though I was post overnight and exhausted, it was totally worth it. And then so the next day she left, she had a plane coming going back to the East Coast. And I stayed and I did another nature walk. And then I went to the spa and I got a Himalayan salt stone massage that was delicious, and then laid by the pool and relaxed, and then came on back home. So, and then since I've been home, just been kind of catching up on work. But that's what my week has been looking like. Overall, it's been really good.
I love that. And
Yeah.
I love that y'all were able to both capture some of those experiences on your Afro maximalist
Magic.
magic. I was going to add boho in there, but I knew I shouldn't have. Instagram and Professor K, yours as well, right? You folks can follow you on Instagram.
Yes. Yeah, we're all on the gram. And we did the collaboration thing to announce that our first couple of videos are posted for Goddess Glow, the Red Lip Alchemy Chronicles. So I posted, I think maybe the first 2 videos, and I'll get the rest of them up. I realize it's a little bit more because you do need to like put a description in. So I just have to go like capture the description and put it in and everything. But it's not too much, not too much, as my fourth born would say. But I'm excited about it. Now, I also know, Tiff, you are way more creative when it comes to like the thumbnails and the Canva stuff. So if you have like a Afro Maximalist magic version of it that you want me to post, then I'm happy to switch them out.
So I like the simplicity of like just yeah, I was like, okay, we can, sometimes we can embrace minimalism.
Who is she?
I
Who is she?
told you I'm tired. No, but yeah, I can definitely get on camera and
Yeah, I
get
was doing it. I was like, this is a placeholder because Tiff's about to be like, girl.
Mhm.
But you're like, okay, let's try the simplest, the simple thing. We'll try it
the simple things.
for season 1, maybe for the first couple episodes. And then you're
Yes,
gonna be like, okay, let's throw some Kente up in
all
here.
the things, all the things. But yeah, so we're out here in the world. So maybe people are watching. But now we have transitioned from the temple of the ancestors, our root chakra, and now we are entering the temple of the conjurers. So again, we are working off of the African goddess initiation book, and we are working on this second threshold in the temple of the conjurers and your creative energy channel. And this, all of the things always clock my tea, but this is one that resonated with me in particular, as I think about, the work that needs to be done in my sacral chakra. And one of the things that I really appreciated about the way that she did it was she acknowledged that we have a physical womb, but we also have a spiritual womb. And so acknowledging that there are some femmes who are on here who may not have been born with a womb, and there are some of us who may have had one that we had to evict out of our temple because they were being disrespectful, like myself. But despite what physically is happening in your womb, we all have a spiritual womb. So the Temple of the Conjurers, this is your creative energy channel. So this temple is about creating your world through the art of creativity, manifestation, and your fertile sexual magic. So one of the things that resonated with me about this is that conjurers are able to harness the power of the divine for evocation, manifestation, and transformation. So I wanted to check in with you guys just on those 3 words. What is it that you are either evoking, manifesting, or trying to transform in this era of your life, or all of the above? Professor K is evoking orgasms, I see.
Absolutely. Okay, hold on. What are our words again?
Evocation,
Evoking,
manifestation, or transformation.
transformation. So evoking, definitely orgasms. Well, evoking, manifesting, both orgasms, and orgasms are transformational. So like that beats all 3. Definitely evoking, like again, the ancestral veneration, connecting with the ancestors, and just different spiritual practices for again both the grounding, but also the creating and the manifesting. Um, Manifesting also, or even, well, yeah, I think all of the things that I'm going to say fit into all 3 categories. I've really been doing more dreaming. So, like Monday was the anniversary of the transitioning of Harriet Tubman. It was also declared a National Day of Rest for Black women. So, like, I took Monday off and I just like lounged and I meditated and I dreamed and I fantasized. And it was really beautiful to just be in that space of like, connecting to, again, what do I really want? What do I really desire? How do I continue to build the life that I really want? And one of the things that I realize is that I've been playing things too small and I just don't do small. So I can't get excited about like a small goal. Like I'm like, I always have, it's like the thing that people are like, how are you about to do that? And I'm like, watch me do it. So that was an interesting, like just having that space of rest opened up the space to like reflect on like, oh, I've been like making this too small. And there's like, and not that you need to go big for the sake of going big, but I'm like, oh, what I really want to do like this, like take just Loud Velvet Writers is like a small slice of a much bigger vision that I have. And it definitely is part of that vision, but it's not the end goal of the vision. So it was beautiful. It was just in that space of rest that I was able to really connect to that. And then it got me really excited about the bigger picture thing that I want to manifest. And so, and also I had to be really intentional about, because again, we're high achievers. So, and we're planners, right? So it's like, as soon as you say what the big goal is, like, okay, well, how do I map out? And it was like, we're not doing the mapping out. We're not working out the logistics, like just be with like the grandeur and the juiciness of it and how exciting and inspiring it is. So this all was really good to tie into that for in terms of the themes for the week for sure.
I love all of this. What about
I
you?
do too.
What you evoking? What you man?
I am, I'm still in, well, I mean, well, I guess we all are in communication with our ancestors more frequently now. And so I continue to pull in my cards and talking, and the martyr card came up again. I was like, oh my goodness. Okay, I get it. So So I've been doing a lot of work around that, and speaking of planning, I missed the memo on the Black Day of Rest, the Black Women's Day of Rest, until like 2 days before, and there wasn't a way to move it, and so I was like listening to some music on the way to something. I usually don't even work too much outside of my home, and go figure, on not only on the day of rest did I have work, but it was more taxing physically on me than it normally is. And I was like, I need to plan ahead. So I looked up the next one. I want to say the next one is in September. And I was like, I'm planning it out now. Not that I can't plan in many other days of rest. I actually fly out tonight to rest in Virginia Beach with my family and friends. So I'll be doing that too. But I think there's that. So just really deeply listening and finding ways to listen to what my ancestors are telling me and follow their guidance. And then for manifestation, I was really struck by there was something in here that said something like, we're always manifesting. Like, right. So we are always doing that. The question is, what are we manifesting? And so that really gave me a lot of reflection too around, what am I manifesting when I'm not being intentional about it? And is there parts that I'm manifesting that are not in alignment with my spirit and my divine next steps? And so that was some really good reflection for me too. So I am being intentional about what I am bringing forth.
I love that. I love.
Yeah.
Well, I definitely have been evoking the ancestors as well. I've been thinking about it. Have we talked about this already? Avatar: The Last Airbender. Did you watch that show, Ebony?
Of course I did. I don't think we've ever talked about it though. I didn't know you were an avatar. What about you, Professor K? You too?
I love it so much. I watched it with my kids, but I low key, high
Like the
key
older
liked it
kid.
as much.
Yeah.
Yeah, the younger kids, well, like we watched it multiple times. Like we bought the disc
Hmm.
set back when people still bought disc sets. Which is good because like who knows when the streaming stuff might be like just disappear. So it's good to have
Right.
tangible. But yeah, so I'm a big fan of it, as a philosopher and as a, mother and all the other things. Yeah.
Well, I started watching Avatar on an Thanksgiving weekend, where they had like the marathons over Thanksgiving with the older two kids, and then just continued to watch it myself. But then during the pandemic, it was brought to Netflix. And so I binge watched the entire thing. And when I tell you, I was taking notes like I was in a class. Avatar. But I think when it comes to the evocation, one of the things I think about is, when they had that image of the current avatar and all of the previous lineage of all the other avatars that are like standing, that are within you and standing behind you. And so that is an image that I bring up for myself and that I am evoking, and recognizing that, like I am here in this form, but there are all of these previous and future forms of myself that are also standing with me, as well as all of the previous and future ancestors that are standing with me, as well as all of these goddesses that we are learning about. So that is a part of my evocation, and knowing that like I am never alone, but I'm evoking all of these spirits and past and future selves that are with me, kind of helping me chart this current version of myself that I'm living now. So that's what my evocation has been. One of the things that stood out to me as I was reading this, when they said manifestation, they talked about this creative energy channel and how manifestation is really making something out of nothing, right? And so thinking about Black women and the ways in which, historically we took the scraps and made these like elaborate meals, and the ways in which we're always making something out of nothing. But they also noted that manifesting an orgasm is creating something from nothing, and it is magic. So I'm going to be working on manifesting more orgasms in this era of my life. And transformation. I think for transformation, this portal is particularly meaningful for me, and we'll get into it, and just thinking about like all of the pain and all of the scars and all of the wounds associated with my womb. And so how can I transform that into new energy, because we have the power to do so, because we are magic. So I'm really looking forward to entering into this portal for myself and for all of us and for all of y'all who are out there watching. Yeah. And so one of the other things that they talk about are what conscious manifestation requires. So it requires being in tune with your intentions and your intuition. It requires knowing how to access your goddess power, and it also requires finding alignment. And so that also resonated with me, because we've been doing so much work. We've talked a lot about our intuition and our intentions on here, and also just talked a lot about alignment. I know I personally have been thinking about how misaligned the work I've been doing has been feeling, and how I'm like just tapping into this creative energy so that I can get into better alignment for myself, so that I can have more satisfaction in the work that I'm doing, but also for the community, so I can have more impact on the world that I'm serving. So what does that mean for you? What are you guys working on trying to align these days?
I loved all of this for a lot of reasons, but yeah, we've been talking a lot about this. For me, it's been a way of reflecting on like the ways I've already made decisions of choosing alignment, and stepping away from what feels misaligned, and how so often we will trick ourselves. And I talk about this in the context of relationships as well as in the context of the work that we do, where there's this kind of golden handcuff phenomenon of like you're constantly trying to focus on what you're getting out of it, and you're overlooking all the ways that it's draining you because it's misaligned. And it doesn't have to be about a person being a terrible person or an institution to being a terrible institution, although, I think certain institutions are terrible, right? But it's like sometimes it's not even about the person or the institution. It's like this thing is not aligned with me. And as long as I'm staying here, it's more draining for me. Even if you say, well, I'm just going to do the bare minimum, or I'm just going to extract as many resources for as long as I can. Like as long as that thing's not aligned, like it's for me, I'll take an opposition. For me, it was more draining to be in a position that was misaligned than it was for me to walk away from that, so that I could be more aligned and I could then manifest and draw in the resources to do the things that feel more aligned for me. So like when I was still a professor, I described it as my job getting in the way of my work, right? Like the requirements of the job were getting in the way of the work that I wanted to do. And the work that I really wanted to do did not require the job that I had. And so walking away from that was a way of me just stepping into the alignment. And so, and I'm also like, I'm now out here telling people to quit jobs that they love or quit marriages that they love. But for people who know that you are kind of over it, I'm like, it's really wonderful on the other side of that, of not kind of having to, the energetic drain of misalignment at a certain point. The cost of that outweighs any of the benefits that may come with staying in a situation that's not aligned.
Yeah, I agree. I think, over the last couple of years, I've made changes that align and then fell back into old habits and then tried to straighten those things up. Next month, I have a few retreats scheduled with like the LGBT Center. And I mean, I just know like the level of excitement that I feel in my body and the planning and reaching out to like my yoga people and all of my somatic person to just come in and be able to just facilitate a really restorative process for folks is a part of my alignment. And so I just know that there are more opportunities there. I love when folks have just a really amazing budget to be able to bring all the beautiful things. And so I know that I have a lot of work to do in like more of that, and less of some of the other things that just stopped bringing me joy. Right. Yep. More budget, and more joy, can't go hand in hand. Learned that in the last area we were in, just in regards to not having to play small. There was a lot of times I had a brick and mortar Healing Grace Studios in Elk Grove, in my home city. And a lot of times I offered services for free for community members, activists that had been in the community doing a lot of heavy work and heavy lifting. And I just wanted them to have a safe space. And then I just upcharged white people for that. And also was not fully also valuing my time and my space as well in that same line. So I think I'm just really trying to find that, continue to find the alignment of what I enjoy too. What about
And
you?
I'll shade to that. It's
Mhm.
interesting when we talk about the bag, one of the things that they told us to write in our journal was like the bag is within me. And initially I was like, I'm not writing that down.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny because I had the hardest time writing it down.
What was the resistance to it?
It was just like, because we're not doing this for the bag, right?
Right,
And so it just didn't feel right to focus on the bag. And then so I had to let go of that resistance and
same.
like how do we heal? And then they went into like healing our relationships with our maternal energy. But then I had to stop and focus on like healing my relationship with monetary energy, right? And where it
Right.
come from and the ways in which we are told to, like self-sacrifice and, all of the other things. So so
Hmm.
that was something that I had to force myself to write that down. That like, yes, like the bag is within you and you can embrace that. It is hard to be like anti-capitalist and embrace the bag being within you, but it's all about the both and. So
Right. Yeah,
That's so
I was writing them down in all caps. Like I am magic. I have the energy that creates worlds. And then I like hesitated when I did the bag, and then I was gonna do it in lowercase, right? Okay, like, and then I was like, no, bitch. Write that shit in all caps. Say it with your chest. Like you don't have to, like, right?
That's so
and
interesting. I didn't have the same result, and I think I wasn't think I was. I think I might have translated as like abundance, right? Like I am
yeah.
abundance. Abundance is within me. Abundance, like I'm not seeking something outside of myself because it's already within myself. So that's so fascinating that both of y'all were like, mm-mm.
I had to let it go. I did write it down. And I'm working on embracing that bag that is within me. Yeah. Well, one of the other things, like let's go ahead and get into this sacral chakra, into this womb energy. So what was coming up for folks when you were thinking about this womb energy? I'm curious, Professor K, whose womb has birthed all the babies and all the businesses and all the things, what was coming up for you when you were thinking about your spiritual womb energy?
So for me, it was also a reflection of like similar to the alignment of how much alchemy I've already done around this. So like I have birthed 4 children, but I've had 5 pregnancies. So like between my first 2 kids and my second 2 kids, I had a miscarriage that was like late-ish. It was like right after the first trimester. So it was like that point where you think you're kind of say in the safe zone. And I had 2 healthy pregnancies. So it was like a completely unexpected thing that was really devastating for me. And then you just kind of bury it. And I remember when I was doing my yoga teacher training, we were doing like some sacral chakra stuff and some stuff just with like pelvic tilt movements, and it just like welled up. Like there's something about, you can do talk therapy and other things, but there's something about the embodied movement of like really bringing your attention to like the physical area that just like brought all of that up for me in a way that I was able to, just process it and work through it. So as we were going through it here, I was like, oh, this is not a thing that's like this source of like heaviness or grief in a way that it once was for me. Even though I did, like, even around Mother's Day, I still think about like the unborn child. But I was just like, oh wow, this is something that I've been really intentional about focusing on in a more empowered way, whether it has to do with like the pregnancies or just my sexual life, right? Like remembering, like I often say, the work I do around erotic empowerment is in part a response to my experiences with erotic disempowerment. And so I really feel I'm proud of and excited about like the juiciness of that aspect of my life, that it's not this sorts of pain or guilt or shame or regret or overwhelm. Like it's like I can acknowledge previous experiences without that over determining where I am and how I want to move forward. So I had a space of like, oh, this is a really beautiful thing. And then also thinking about, as you said, like the businesses and other things, like the manifestation of like we really can envision the thing and we make the thing happen. It's like it's just what we do. And so whatever we do moving forward, we can do it in the same way that we've done everything else that seemed impossible that we said we were going to do, and we did. So I really enjoyed it for that reason. But it was also like it felt like a great responsibility, like reattuning to like how am I responsible for this moving forward. Again, in a way that doesn't feel heavy and burdensome, but like exciting and energetic and orgasmic. Both for sexual things and not sexual things.
Juicy.
You say. What about you? What's coming up for you in that spiritual and physical womb?
I think, I think it felt very similar to what I was experiencing from this last I keep wanting to call it a portal. Well,
It
I'll
is a
just go
portal.
portal. Yeah. Of time, just knowing that I realize that I do have blockages, right? Like I like to think that I'm all clear, everything, all the chakras, my throat, all of it. But certainly there were some questions, like, some of them didn't, resonate with me. But like, are you are you pregnant with creative projects but can't quite birth them? Or does pleasure have to be earned for you? And yeah, sometimes I do, like I do, I not in the sense of like physical pleasure, that's never been a problem for me. And just in regards to feeling like I have to earn it, I do what I need to do. But in regards to just being able to relax on a lean into relaxing on a weekend at times does feel like, did I do enough this week? Did I do enough today to be able to like earn my rest or earn the pleasure to do the things that I do? And if I don't feel like I have, there are times where I'm in my head a lot, like I'm enjoying it, but in the back of my head, I'm like, bitch, really, did you really earn this? And I know that's white supremacy, right? Like I know that it's deeply rooted there. But then reading this, I was like, yeah, that shit's still there. Like there's that still comes up for me. Not all the time, not as constant as it did, because I've done a lot of work decolonizing. And I recognize that there's still some blockages present. Like there are times where I'm like, it's time to birth this, and then my body's kind of like stuck. And so I've got still some work to do. I'm still working on it. I'm like, we all work in progress. So I'm unpacking it and knowing that there is a lot in my womb energy, spiritually, that's ready to come out. That was my other card. One was the martyr card. The other one was like, stop waiting. Stop
Mm.
waiting. What are you waiting for? I decided this week I was only pulling two because three be overwhelming me. I realized that last week. I was like, okay, I don't, which way, which direction? So those two messages, it's like, it's time. So I'm slowly working through it, but I'm making good progress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is one that definitely deeply resonates with me. And I think when it comes to the blockages for the energy channel, it was using your sacred container to carry personal and generational trauma. So that was one that resonated with me. So as you two know, but as the world who is watching may not know, I had a hysterectomy. What has it been? 2, 3 years now? Maybe 3 years ago now. After having a myomectomy when I was 31. And so the first myomectomy, I had 16 fibroids removed. And then with the hysterectomy, it was too numerous to count, and I had 8-pound uterus that was removed. And so we know that the burden of fibroids is disproportionately experienced by Black women. So we have a threefold increase in the relative risk of fibroids. We get it diagnosed at an earlier age. With me having my first myomectomy when I was 31, we're more likely to be symptomatic, whether it's pain, anemia, all of the things that I had are fibroids. They're larger, they grow faster. We're 3.5 times more likely to be hospitalized for our fibroids. 6.8 times more likely to have myomectomies, and 2.4 times more likely to have hysterectomies in comparison to white women. And then even when when I think about me personally, our grandmother, it came out when we were doing the oral and written history project that she had to have a hysterectomy at some point. And my mother had a hysterectomy, my grandmother had a hysterectomy, and my great grandmother also had a hysterectomy. And so it's hard to know those pre-70s hysterectomies, how much of them were for sterilization, because we know that that was a practice that took place up until the 1970s versus related to some of these issues that we have, both physically and energetically, related to our fibroids. But when it comes to like, well, what is contributing to this increased rate of fibroids in Black women? My answer is always racism, right? And so I think about like all of the microaggressions and the macroaggressions that we internalize. Thinking about Audre Lorde, when she talks about all those tyrannies that we swallow day by day, and how I then held on to them and used my womb as a container for those things. And even now thinking like, okay, my womb isn't there, so what's holding on to them now, right? And thinking about the ways in which our spiritual wombs are still holding on to those things. So I'm really excited to get into this. That's why I was like, we can't even get into the first goddess because
Yes, I was
this
like, it's too much
intro
in this
is so
transition.
much for us to just like take in and digest and think about. So I feel like Abiola Abrams be speaking directly to me, and all of these goddesses are speaking directly to me. And I'm just looking forward to all of the magical manifestation that's going to happen. Now that we have Sex Down South officially on the calendar for September, I'm so glad that we're doing
Look,
this.
I need to reach out to them about a affiliate link or something.
I was clicking on there. They had a page with affiliate links. I was clicking
I
on
need
and
to
looking
check
them.
it out.
Professor
Mhm.
K, you need to start getting a percentage. Because even
Okay.
my friend who I was with, she was like, "Now I never thought about going to one of those things, but I don't know. It's and the theme this year is spiritual awakening too. Um,
Yes, I
so
saw
I
that.
think that this work that we're doing now though is so important for like the pre-work in order to be able to kind of get to those next levels. So yeah, so this was clocking all of my tea and doing all of the things for myself. And I already, I have therapy tomorrow. And so one of the things from the last portal, as Ebony calls it, for the portal of the ancestors, it was thinking about like what things from the ancestors and from the past generations are you still holding on to that you want to release. And I think that that really ties well into thinking about my spiritual womb and what emotions and experiences, both personally and transgenerationally, I'm holding on to that. Like this is the time to release. So I'm really excited to do that work.
Well, this is also perfect timing because we have the full moon and the
Listen,
lunar
not just a
eclipse
full moon. It's
happening.
like a
It's
blood
a blood
worm
moon,
moon.
yes, blood worm moon and the lunar eclipse and Virgo and the Pisces energy. So this is a great time for releasing. So these were excellent. Like this was the timing of this was great in terms of like the prompts and being able to name what we want to release. So I love that too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be outside. We get it earlier here on the West Coast. So I'm definitely gonna be outside tonight. It's kind of cloudy, so I'm hoping I still see it. But even if I don't see her, I know that she still sees me and she still feels me. And so looking forward to doing some releasing with this extra special, powerful blood worm moon that is coming up. So let's see, wrapping up because I know Professor K has to go in 10 minutes. The last thing that I wrote down from this that resonated with me was heal what cries out to be healed, birth what needs to be birthed, dissolve what must be resolved, and release what no longer serves you. Lovingly let go. It's time. So these are the words that I will be declaring to this blood moon tonight, as I work through some of these things. Anybody else have anything they want to add? Things that resonated with you as you were just preparing? Like we ain't even getting to the goddesses yet.
We didn't even get into the goddesses yet. Yeah, no, I was just really struck by this opening of this portal.
Yeah.
And I loved the blessing of the conjurers, the sewing, tacking, molding, weaving, bending the order of time, like all of that just really resonated with me. And so I've gone back to read that a few times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
agree.
oh go ahead.
I was just gonna say there was something about like you pick the time that's on the clock, right? Like,
Right. Yes.
just like the power for us to really be able to do whatever the fuck we want to do.
Yeah. Place the clock's number as you need it to.
Hmm.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. We have the energy to create worlds. All right, go ahead, Professor K. What were you gonna say?
Well, I was going to say two things as far as the time and the clock. There's a lot more work coming out around time and the social construction of time and all of that stuff. So I actually just came across a book. I don't remember the author, but the title is like Dismantling the Master's Clock. That's getting into like some of the quantum physics and all of this other stuff around time and colonialism and racism and all of that stuff that has to do with time. So I think it's a good time to reflect on time and reject a kind of linear time that is doing all of these things to us. I appreciated the reflection questions for like kind of the completion of the Temple of Ancestors questions, which were in each chapter, but I like that she kind of restated them. So that was a good opportunity to kind of journal and reflect back on that. So some of those questions were what makes me feel safe? What beliefs did I inherit? And I broke that down into two sections. So what beliefs did I inherit that I now reject? And what beliefs did I inherit that I have decided to retain? And then I love the question of what do my ancestors want for me? That was also helpful for my dreaming. Um, and just again, connecting to what you were saying earlier, Tiff, in terms of like, and what she reinforces is that we're not alone, right? Like, so what we want for ourselves is also what our ancestors want for us. And we have this whole, going backward and going forward energy that's supporting us in those desires. What ancestral traumas am I willing to release? How can I ground myself daily? And then I, from there, asked the question of what are the desires of my heart. So that was kind of the leading question for me as I was going into the dreaming stuff that I was doing um, on Monday. So yeah, these were all really helpful. And I can go till quarter of. So I still have I still have like 20 minutes or 15 minutes from now. Speaking of time. Because unfortunately, this class is on, linear time.
That's right.
Mhm, mhm. But yeah, I there were so many like little gems in there. You are co-creating this planet right now, right? You
Mhm.
are the energy that creates worlds. And so recognizing that like none of this is real, right? And we get to
Well,
create
we
the
get to
world
decide
that
what's
we
real.
want to
We
live
get
in.
to decide. We get to decide what's real. We get we get to design the life that we want to live. Like that's something that I also constantly remind myself of because again, you can walk away from one form of bondage and then just recreate that bondage somewhere else. And so like I'm constantly remind myself like don't recreate the thing that you just walked away from. Like I get to decide and design the life that I want to live. But something else that stood out to me that nobody has mentioned yet, so I'm gonna put it out there is the maternal thing, right? And so she has this on page 80. So she says, now this next declaration is going to be a bit controversial. We must heal our relationships with maternal energy, the queen of your childhood. And so she says, right in the Goddess Soul book, I'm willing to heal my relationship with my maternal energy. And so for me, I think she's talking about like our mothers or the women that raised us. But for me, it's also healing my relationship to my own maternal energy. And like it's been a thing for me. So I was like, okay, clocked my T on this one because I mentioned that a little bit as we were talking about like how so many of the guys, like there's so much maternal energy that's always put on the feminine energy. And so, I'm still working through that. So it was good to reflect on not only maternal energy in terms of like my biological mother, but my own relationship to the maternal.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, I did that reflection too. I have such a strong relationship with my mother that it made me kind of think about what about my own relationship. And I think there's been some struggles over just the last year and just me stepping back from parenting and trying to give those responsibilities out. And not just internally feeling strong about it, but the external folks around like, oh, you really gonna do that? Like, you really gonna let your parenting go? You're going to let the dad, right? Like, and I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah. Like, why am I like, then I feel like I'm sitting in judgment from,
So, like, you're not actually letting it go. You're just
I'm not.
redistributing the labor and actually trying to hold the other parent accountable for doing part of the parenting, right?
Exactly.
So it is
Exactly.
definitely like the way in which society holds mothers to a different standard than they hold fathers is a little bit ridiculous.
It's wild.
A
It's
lot of it
wild.
ridiculous.
Yeah, and that happened even with my own mother today. We were on the phone. My son actually has a school meeting for the college he's attending, and it was at 2:30, but he scheduled it like the big boy he is. And you know, but then last night was like, "Are you free tomorrow at 2:30?" And I said, "No, I'm not. We're got the podcast." And he was like, "Okay." And then I said, "Have you tried your father?" And so he did, and he's available, and so they're doing the meeting together. And I was telling my mother that this morning, and she was like, "Well, why didn't he call me instead of calling his dad?" I said, "Oh, why would he call you instead of his dad?" Right? Like, and then she was like, "Oh, and then there's this weekend when he's with him, whenever he just doesn't, want to go because you pushing him to be there, right? Like he can just come to my house." And I said, "Why? Why would you take that responsibility on? That's not the point of this. His father is able to show up for him in the ways that he needs. So let him do that, let him parent." And so she was like, "Oh, you're right, but I feel like I'm constantly holding that line with folks in my life to be like, no, this is completely appropriate and actually very healthy. What's unhealthy is for him to see me constantly being the person who's showing up, doing all the things, right? And so that needs to be balanced a bit more. And since I've been holding it down for 25 plus years with all these children, he can hold a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Amen and Ashe.
That may be the martyr card too, like the ways in which we have to choose not to be martyrs, even when other people want us to be martyrs and want themselves. It's like, okay, well, if you're not willing to be the martyr, I'm willing to be the martyr so that he doesn't
Right.
have to do this thing. Well, and I don't
Exactly.
think
That's
it,
true.
I think part of it is let's not burden the man, which is an interesting thing. But I think part of it is just a lack of faith in the man being able to do it, right? And so it's like, but either way, it's not good for you or for the children who do need both of those, who need all of the support, not just your support.
Exactly.
And I mean that for myself as well.
Yeah.
And my 11 kids.
Right. Same, girl, same.
We're also, even in my house, right, like that labor has been redistributed to my mother, right? Like one of my adult children is not with their father, it's with my mother.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. Right. Yep.
That part.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's real.
Real. So working on healing part of it's interesting because I never really, despite the sacral chakra being the womb, I never really thought about that as like healing those maternal relationships. And so thanks for highlighting that aspect of it, Professor K, about what we need to do to heal our relationship with our mothers and our maternal lineage, what you guys are doing on healing your relationships with being a mother. And I think for me, like, is there any work left for me to do on healing that relationship with not being a mother? So it's a great invitation in this portal.
Yeah, I appreciated the lineage to hometown, like our home ancestry land as well. And I think I talked last week about being able to get back to New Orleans and just get back to some of the spaces and places. And so after having some time with this area, this new portal, I was like, I was planning on just taking the babies, but I'm gonna take my mama with me too. I know she'll enjoy that and appreciate it, and be able to give them a tour. So that I think that'll be there. The visit will be strengthened by having my mother's presence there to contribute to the space. So I'm looking forward to that as well.
You're gonna come back real magical.
I'm gonna come back. I might not come back. That's what I'm worried about. I'll be like, how long can I stay in this
I will
Airbnb?
totally come and visit you in New Orleans.
I really love it there. I'm gonna have to work on that.
Listen, this is the portal for it. So
Yeah.
it's
What do you
like,
want?
what do you want? Not
Right.
not worried about the logistics, but what is your heart's desire concerning this thing?
Yeah.
I love it. And I will say also on the maternal thing, something Tiff, you and I did with our mother, I think was really helpful for us was we were, there was like this energy that was like, I was gonna say right beneath the surface, but it was above the surface. It was all over the place. And so one of the things that Tiff did was found this well, we won't promote a sponsor that we don't have yet, but there was like a place that
Mhm.
where they give questions, but instead of going with the preset questions, like Tiff came up with like 52 questions. So we have a question each week that we all could answer. Because part of it was like we would get on, like we were just like, oh, let's all get on, do some like mother-daughter time. And it would be like me and Tiffany asking her a bunch of questions. And so when I was talking about it with my therapist, she was like, well, yeah, she's not gonna respond to that because y'all like ganging up on her and tag teaming on her. So she was like, either y'all need to rotate who answers the questions or like everybody needs to, so that everybody's participating. It's not just y'all like getting on her. And so this was like what Tiff came up with. So we had these 52 questions that all three of us responded to every week, and we could talk through our answers through it every week. And I think it was a way for us to really just talk through a lot of the stuff that was like not said, but needed to be said. And I think that helped clear a lot of that energy. I mean, I think there's always more room for growth, but I feel like it did clear a lot of stuff that had been, lingering for a while. So I think that was good.
I agree. And I think maybe that's why I didn't linger on the healing the maternal lineage part when I was going through this, because I feel like we made concerted efforts to do that work. And but so it's grateful to have that framework of thinking just like not just your mother, but like your mothers before your mother, your aunties, as well as your, thinking about yourself as a mother in your community. So always more work to be done.
I,
Mhm.
I also appreciated that she didn't define healing work with mother as needing to be like in this constant state of interactions with someone who's unhealthy. And I think as Black women, we've had to hold a lot of like, but that's your grandmother, or that's your father, or that's your fill in the blank with any other family member who has caused significant harm and then continues to cause that harm, and then being kind of pushed and constantly prodded into needing to hold space and heal within the relationship instead of just saying I can heal outside of it, and continue to love in whatever way that works for me without needing to constantly have these levels of interaction with the person. And I think that's a good message for, I mean, I feel like I've definitely been, I've embraced that for years. I got a very much so, you're not healthy for me, you got to go. I don't have a relationship with my brother for that very reason. And so, but a lot of folks don't, right? Like they believe that they have to try to work on that relationship, and it becomes just really toxic for them.
Yeah, that definitely resonated with me. And not necessarily with my mother, but within like friendships and community that has been coming up a lot this year of, people trying to push me of like, nope, you need to do this and you need to be in community and you need to allow this person to have access to you despite the fact that they've caused you harm. And so, and I've been doing like about, and I'm like, I know deep within myself, like this does not align and this does not feel right, but thinking through like, do I need to decolonize, and am I the person who's in the wrong, even though like I deeply feel that I'm not. And so I appreciate it, and I wrote down, I don't have to expose myself to harm in the name of healing or community. And so I
That
think
part.
a good reminder for me that like just because all of these other people are trying to push this agenda on you, that's their agenda and it doesn't have to be your agenda, and they don't get to define what healing looks like for you. They don't get to define what community looks like for you, and you don't have to expose yourself to harm in the name of healing or community, because it's not healthy. So that definitely resonated with me.
Where are my motherfucking snapping fingers emojis? Where the keep that grows up and is snapping like this? We're gonna have to get zoom to update there.
Well, and I love where you started with that, which was the feel, right? Like this, what I'm doing feels right, and this thing that somebody else is trying to get me to do feels wrong. And I think that, and we've talked about this before, but I think for girls and women in particular, we are so taught to override our feelings, like don't trust your feelings, whether it's physical or emotional, or don't be emotional. But there's important information in your feelings and your body in your emotional feelings. And so I love you leading with like, this what I'm being told is right does not feel right, and trusting what you feel and what you know intuitively as opposed to what somebody's trying to impose on you, because that's the colonizer right there. It ain't, not going against your feelings. It's the colonizer move, not
But like
the
literally being told like your feelings are wrong, and like you're not healed unless you do this, and you're not in community and you're doing, those are the master's tools, and this is what
Bullshit.
restorative justice looks like, and
Bullshit.
we need to be, and it's like like you're saying the right words, right? But it's still, there's something that does not feel just about the way that it is being operationalized. And so, so I appreciated this reminder and this affirmation. I do not have to expose myself to harm in the name of healing or in the name of community. So I'm in an
All right.
Ashe.
Can we pull cards?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Professor K, you want to pull the community card this week since you got the most wide open sacral chakra?
I just opened my legs under the table. Y'all can't see. I'm not quite flexible enough right now. After this hip hop class, I might be able to open and put my legs up on the camera. But yeah, for the trumpeter, exactly. I'm through trumpeter. Okay, yes, let me pull it. I'll pull my card, but I will pull another card for the community too. So, okay. Okay. Have y'all, what order do y'all want to go in terms of reading the cards, or do y'all want me to start since I pulled first?
You can go ahead.
Okay, so I pulled, and this is the second time that, so I pulled for myself, Tanit, pleasure,
What number is that?
number 11, and I'll read that one
So
first.
first you pull pleasure for yourself.
Yeah, I was like, that's on brand. Oh my goodness, y'all, I have a thing coming up in April. I won't say the city because I never know who's watching this stuff and I don't want to put people's business in the street. But I have a thing in a city for one of my mentors. So I'm going to go see her for that. And I have a lover friend who's in that city that I will hook up with. So I reached out to my lover friend and I was like, oh, I'm going to be in the city. Can we get together and do some things? He was very excited to be able to do the things. And I'm excited to be able to do the things. So staying on top of my pleasure goals. Okay, so Tanit is the goddess of pleasure from Tunisia. The temple is Conjurers. The element is air. Tanit was the goddess of the stars in ancient Carthage. This is what it looks like. Today, all the way over in Ibiza, they still have pleasure-filled full moon midnight table dancing parties in her name. This sounds like a good time. Guidance. You are thirsty for more pleasure.
You are.
You can't thrive when life feels dry. You are made of laughter and stardust, not sawdust. Pleasure is your birthright, a gift from the universe. Embodiment. How much juicy pleasure can you stand? Come on, juicy pleasure.
We should have made a drinking game for how many times you said juicy today.
Right.
Right.
Turn up the pleasure principle. Actually, when I was saying juicy, I felt like I was starting to go overboard with the emojis, but I almost did a pineapple emoji because, pineapples make you taste sweet and it's juicy, but I didn't. But anyway, you secretly feel that you don't deserve it, but pleasure is a healing and manifesting force. Laughing, loving, and orgasmic joy is holy. Hold your hands over your reproductive area and say aloud, I deserve pleasure. And then the declaration again is, it feels good to feel good. I mean, I feel like I deserve pleasure, but I feel like this is a challenge to level up. Have you settled at the level of pleasure that you've achieved, and how can you ascend higher? So I accept this pleasure challenge. Okay, and then the other one has been pulled before. It's the masks one.
Number is that?
Number 18, Junbi. And so this one is, I'm like, man, maybe the ancestors are warning us, all skin folk ain't kinfolk, or everybody who's smiling in your face ain't whatever, but we'll see. So Jumbis are the scary, this is Shadow of Mask, Caribbean, Temple Shadows, Element Air. Jumbis are the scary, shadowy, otherworldly spirits and monsters of the Caribbean. Shadow guidance. Where is the lie? Get quiet to get clear. Put your hand on your heart. Now, are you confused or are you afraid? Your outer world is a reflection of your inner world. Show your true face. Wearing a mask blocks your vulnerability and blessings. If you are wearing a mask, dare to reveal yourself. You are lying to others and to yourself. Wearing a mask is exhausting. Be you. If someone else is wearing a mask with you, you deserve clarity. Your relationship and connection is built on lies. Their mask is a projection of your own. Goddess declaration, I am willing to remove the mask. So yeah, that's come up. I feel like we've pulled a couple cards a couple times, so I'll do some more reflection on that as well. Y'all
Gotcha.
pull yet?
Well,
Yeah. Mine's literally jumped out because it got frayed here at the end when I was shuffling. And so I was like, okay, I guess this is the one. But it is Mom Lambo, self-sabotage number 24.
pulled that one too, I think.
Have we? Okay. I was like, okay. So this is Zulu Temple Shadows Element Bush. So Shadow Monster Mamlambo is the brain-sucking, snake-like, water-dwelling Zulu goddess of rivers.
Oh, you
Uh,
know why I said we pulled that one before?
why?
Because I pulled it just now for myself.
No, you didn't.
It was the one I had. I'm like, why can't I find it? Because it's the one I already pulled from.
No. Okay. All right. Well, here's the shadow guidance times 2. You are holding yourself apart from your blessings. What ancient pain are you trying to stuff down, numb, ignore, or avoid? What does your self sabotage help you to avoid? Embodiment. Your inner saboteur is clever. Seductive patterns of behavior block your path and your power. Distractions, addictions, cravings, and unhealthy habits will not bring you your best. Your inner bully is the voice telling you you messed up, the part of you that is jealous, the anger you don't know what to do with, your stuck inner procrastinator, and your toxic relationship choices. Stop terrorizing yourself with broken promises of discipline. Instead, choose devotion to your chosen pathways. What inspired action can you take today? Goddess declaration, I have compassion for myself. That's a good one. And I like that they wove that. They ended with that. I have compassion for myself, because it could have guided in a different way. But like, despite like what is coming up in regards to self-sabotage, that we hold compassion in that moment too.
What number was that one?
24. And they put Meg the Stallion on the front with the snakes around her.
Well, one of the things I appreciate about these cards is like given this portal that we're going into around creativity and manifestation, I think those are the things that's important to pay attention to. Again, like when are we going too small? How are we sabotaging ourselves? How are we engaging in bad faith or wearing masks? And like how do we step into being our full selves, like where we've been, where we are, and where we're going.
Yeah, I agree. Anything else come up for you, Tiff, as we're closing up with this one?
With this one, I think the thing that stuck out to me most is talking about distractions and cravings and unhealthy habits that will not bring you your best.
I
Right?
thought about that because we talked about it last week.
Talking about that one. And I was like, I don't feel stressed out, but for some reason I've been craving ice cream. All the things, right? And so like my body is telling me that like something is going on that I'm not processing like subconsciously. And so how do I bring that stuff from the subconscious into the conscious and work through it instead of distracting myself with with short-term pleasures that long-term don't benefit my overall well-being. So
and not like the sexy orgasmic ones. Short-term pleasures that are not orgasmic.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Well, and I mentioned that before with the I was re-listening to some of the first two, and one of them I was talking about cutting off the social media and how I got like all of this stuff done when I was not distracting myself with the social media. So it was a reminder of like, oh yeah, like I need to revisit that as well, not just that one week that I like cut it off.
And I think even relate to what we're just talking about, like with friendships and communities, of the inner bully is the voice telling you that you messed up, and it's like you're not the one that messed up, boo.
You're not the one that, and sometimes it's an outer bully, not an inner bully. Sometimes it is an inner bully. Well, even actually when Ebony was talking about the having to earn pleasure, like I was like one of the things I was thinking about, but you also named like white supremacy and things like that. But like whose voice is that that's telling you you have to earn it? Like, is that in your voice, or is it like a elder in your family that told you that voice, or like the broader community? Like, whose voice is that? inner
Right.
bully in.
I definitely think it's me.
Like, it's me. This is
It's
the work I
me.
need to do. Like,
I'm the problem.
I am the bully.
I know, because unfortunately there was some of that ingrained in my children, and I see them working on, well, not my youngest, he's free. He's living his full free self, and my other son is getting there. But my daughter, they constantly on that path of like performing, overdo, did I earn? And I'm like, stop it. I'm trying to stop too. I don't want to be the voice for myself or anybody else around me around earning any type of pleasure. It is our right. So.
Okay, guys.
All right. I know you got to get out of here, Professor K.
All right, Professor K, I can't wait for you to come back and tell us about how you're storytelling.
I will
And
report back.
maybe open us up with a little hip hop dance next week.
Yes. Performative.
I have to put the thing on my phone so I can set up a stand and I
There
can
you
like
go.
do the first 15 seconds or whatever I learned.
Right.
I was like, oh, I might have to start a TikTok so I could do my weekly.
We could be like, living single when they do the opening and they're like all dancing. Like that could be the opening for the Goddess Glow Up.
Well, I'm also wondering what kind of hip hop is this, because I'm thinking like 90s fly girls in living color, and I feel like that's not what it's about to be. So like it'll be interesting to just see what does that mean to whomever this instructor is. So, but we'll see. I'm open to it.
I got my fly girl outfit, so I'm gonna wear that next week as your backup dancer. So that's my commitment. I'm sure it's gonna get captured in our notes.
Yes, exactly. And I will say, I have been loving rewatching. Like, I've enjoyed rewatching it. Like, even if this is I'm like, oh, these were great reflections and insights. And so I love the notes. And then I also have enjoyed actually rewatching the video of it as well. So
I'll have to watch it. Maybe I'll do that this weekend before my
I'm gonna do the same. I think I immediately hear my voice and I'll be like, pause. So I'm gonna break through that and watch it too.
Yeah, you sound very sexy. We all sound sexy and look sexy.
Definitely.
All right, love you guys.
Love you too.
Love
y'all. See you next week. Bye.